Hi, it's me again with Corel Draw Tips and Tricks, and this video is about vector color mapping. This was all done with color mapping and vector. This was actually a vector cut a ½ inch off focus, but the laser did it all. And I apologize, this is probably only for an Epilog Fusion. So if you have an Epilog Fusion, that's what I'm actually going to name it. I think this is maybe the other brands will do it. I do not know. You'll just have to check out your color mapping. But it's got to be able to automatic focus. And this is cool because this took very little time. And if you need to do a lot of them, it would cut that, engrave that circle first. So let's look at this close. Now, before we start, your colors have to be RGB. And they are. If you look right down here, the vector line is R25G0 blue 0. The blue is blue 255. So just go to color mapping. Go to print, preferences, color mapping. Turn on the color mapping. Turn on autofocus. Turn on vector and not raster. We're going to get the red. We're going to cut the red at 100 power. And I use 5-speed all the time because of the fact that I want to make sure it gets through the knot holes. And then we need to set autofocus is on, so we need to set the thickness of the material as 0.125. And then the offset is a ½ of an inch. And then hit this arrow. And you can see it's vector yes. One thing we need to do air assist and turn it on. Now we need to take the blue and we're going to just use 50 power, the same offset, autofocus, air assist, vector and not raster, and then change this to 1.25 or 0.125. Sorry, 0.125, 0.125, 0.5. Everything's on. Hit it over there, and you're done. You know, your vector is on. Vector is on. The green is on, but we're not using green. And if you plan never to use green, you could probably just delete it. But because there's no green on the page, it's not going to do anything. We're only using blue and red. And then hit OK and go to Preferences, Vector, Vector Grid. If you're using a vector grid, make the thickness is 0.125, 0.5 offset. And I'm going to go ahead and set 100 power at 5-speed. Because I think the color mapping is going to take over anyway. Don't send to manager, just send to the laser. Hit OK, and it is going to cut this out and engrave that. Now, before I started in Object Manager, and I'm going to get rid of this photograph so it won't get in our way. I'm going to go to Windows, Dockers, Object Manager, select our items. The blue ellipse is on the bottom, so it's going to go first. The center ellipse is second, so it's going to cut out, and that's the order you want. It's going from the bottom up, and then your last cut is where the piece is going to drop out if your bed's a little bit dented or warped, or your wood's warped, because you want to go in that order. So that's color mapping. Now, if you were just doing one of them, big deal. But if you were doing a whole page of these guys, you know, across the page, think of the time it would save you to do all that and everything. I messed up there. Anyway, you get the point. It'll mark all those, and of course I would always test your everything. And see, because we did that, it's going to mark all the blue lines first and then go back and cut the red, still in order. So I apologize if yours doesn't have color mapping, or even your Epilog has color mapping and doesn't have autofocus, you could run the job separately. But that's a pretty cool feature. Anyway, hope that helped a little bit. Thank you for watching.